And welcome back. Sorry, we're running just a little bit late. Traffic was a little bit uncooperative this afternoon, so I apologize for being a few minutes late here. I want to read something to you that, well, it goes like this. Make no mistake, the changes in the real estate industry over the past 2 decades are nothing short of revolutionary. Few industries have experienced the tsunami of change which real estate has, from the death spiral and rebound of home prices to the advent of instantaneous communication and social media marketing. As with every revolution, there will be those who thrive, those who merely survive, and those who perish. If you simply hope to survive, it may be possible to do so by doing what you've always done. It's possible, but it's not likely. To survive or thrive in today's dynamic real estate marketplace, you must not only change what you do, but how you think. Those words were the preface to a book I wrote 7 years ago. They hold true today. In order for us, any of us, regardless of the amount of time that we've been in the business, in order for us to succeed, we have to continually change. We have to embrace change. Change is inevitable, and we are constantly going to be faced with reinventing ourselves. Those agents, they're agents who are going to succeed regardless of what obstacles are in front of them. And there are those agents who are going to fail regardless of the amount of help they're given. And a mentor of mine that you've all heard before, I won't even mention his name, Floyd Wickman, said, "If it is to be, it's up to me." And every day that I go to work, or every day I get on a bicycle or sit in front of a typewriter to write, I say, if it is to be, it's up to me. Nobody else is going to write that book for me. Nobody else is going to ride 50 miles for me. And nobody else is going to go and get real estate prospects for me. Today, listings are the name of the game, just as they were 20 and 30 years ago. Listings have always been the name of the game. The challenge is, the terror is, that if you go on a listing appointment and you walk away without that listing, you got to go find another listing to try and get. So my objective here today is to try to help you lose less and win more. You don't want to, if you have the opportunity to go on a listing appointment and you don't get that listing, if you lose that listing to another agent from another company or whatever, that hurts. It's disappointing. It's disheartening. So in order to increase your hit ratio, the percentage of listings that you actually get when you go on listing appointments, we're going to talk about a few things that you can do. Specifically, stop selling. Start listening. A lot of agents fill up the air with words because they're selling. And the best salespeople in the world are those who listen. And they get a grasp of what that buyer or seller wants, what that buyer or seller needs, and what that buyer or seller feels. Feelings, a friend of mine once said, real estate is a drop of logic in a sea of emotion. And it's true. Most people make decisions according to their feelings, even though they believe that they're logical people. Ultimately, their emotions will play a greater role in their choices than will logic. So our objective here today is to change their hearts. Change their hearts, not their minds. Focus on their hopes and dreams. Don't focus on the sticks and the bricks and the square footage. That's not going to make them work with you. They're facts, they're reality, they're things that have to be taken into consideration. But if you want to be able to identify what is going to move them to list with you, to work with you to sell their home or to buy another home, then you have to learn how to, number one, identify an objection versus a condition. A condition and an objection are two different things. You can't change a condition. For example, if they owe $50,000 on their current home, more than what it's worth, the likelihood is you're not going to be able to sell it. That's a condition. If it's a matter of timing, for example, that may be an objection. Objections, surprisingly, are based in fear. It says it right there. That's why it's true. Objections are based in fear. But there's two kinds of objections. One is a stall, and one is a real objection, the real reason that they can't make a decision, or they think they can't make a decision. A stall might be, well, we're thinking about holding off till spring. That's a stall. That's not the real reason that they're not going to list their house with you today. I can virtually guarantee it. Your job on that appointment is to uncover the real reason they feel as if they can't make a decision. What is the real objection? And objection handling is not scientific, but the process is. The process of handling an objection is very scientific. It is very much based in psychological study. As is this statistic I'm going to give you. There are 285 million objection handling techniques, give or take. I don't think that's true. I made that up. But there are a lot of them. There are a lot of ways that you can talk to people without sounding salesy and have a conversation with them about what their hopes and dreams are. Well, how do they want to live? What do they want their life to be in the future? And how can you help them attempt to get there? The interesting thing that I've learned about objections is that your attempt to handle an objection is more important to them than whether or not you do it well. Trying, you get an A for effort. If you at least try to uncover what the real reason is that they're holding back, why they're not moving forward right now with you, with someone else, to list their home, get it on the market, your effort is going to get you points. But there also is the objection handling process, and I'm going to share this with you. First of all, rule number 1, use your own words. Have a conversation. There are no other rules. One of the ways that our industry has changed remarkably in the last 30 years is that we used to be more salesy. And we're in a different market now, in a different world. People don't want to be sold something. They can go on the internet and they can buy anything they want. Why do they need a vacuum cleaner salesperson to come up and ring their doorbell? They can buy it on the internet. It's the same thing with real estate. They don't want you or me to sell them anything, but we can help them identify what their objectives are and whether or not now is a good time to pursue them. So, when they say to you, I'm going to wait till spring, the first thing you need to do is acknowledge it. Cushion it, as I say. Step one is cushion it. Acknowledge their feelings. Have you ever had a conversation with someone and you say to them, I like the color blue? And their response is, well, I like gray. Okay. Do you ever feel like you weren't heard? That what you said didn't matter? That's how clients feel. When they say something to you about, I want to hold off till spring, and your immediate reaction to them is, well, let me tell you the reasons that's wrong. Not using those words, but if that's the feeling you're giving off, the likelihood is that you're going to walk out that door without a listing. Step two, question it. Clarify with them exactly what their hesitation is. So, if I understand it, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, just so I'm clear, your concern is that if you put it on the market now, it's going to create a lot of work for you to do, and that's overwhelming at the moment? Or is it a matter that you think that if you wait until spring, until May, let's say, the blooms, the blossoms are going to be out and it's going to look different, or July when the trees are in full bloom? Help me understand what it is that's holding you back. I just want to know, because if there's a way I can help you, I want to be able to do that. Again, have a conversation with people. What you're going to discover in doing that is you're going to find their real objection. If you ask them that question, if you clarify, if you question the reason for their hesitation, you're going to find out what it really is. And sometimes I'll be so bold as to say, is it me? I mean, is it just a matter that you're not my biggest fan and you want to choose somebody else? Help me understand that. Help me know why you're not ready to move forward at this time. And very often they'll tell you the truth. They'll come out and say, no, it's not about that. It's that we wanted to paint the bathroom and put a new screen door on the slider, and we wanted to get a couple of bushes planted out in front, and then we feel as though we could put the house on the market and get the most money for it. So just so I'm clear, getting the most money for your house is important to you, and you feel as though the best way to do that is to wait until you got some bushes planted and a screen door fixed and the bathroom painted. Is that, how am I doing so far? Is that what am I understanding that correctly? They go, yeah, that's kind of it. You've actually helped them define their own hesitation. So, what do you do with that? Well, here's what I do. I get them to commit to a fair trade. And I say, so, if I could show you, without a shadow of a doubt, that you could get more money now for your house than if you put it on the market in 30 or 60 days when all of the other inventory hits the market. See, right now there's a lot of buyers out there, but there aren't a lot of houses to sell. So if I could prove that to you without a shadow of a doubt, would you even think about moving forward today? Yes or no? Most reasonable people are going to say, well, if you can prove it to me, okay, fair enough. And then what I do is I use words and pictures. Again, my mentor used to say, a picture is worth $1,000 because that's a commission. That was a commission back then was 1,000. A picture today is worth a lot more than $1,000. But if you use your words and pictures, it communicates, it helps them retain the information that you're going to give them. And for example, in the example that I laid out, I may say to them, here are the number of homes on the market right now. There are 10,000 homes on the market. I don't know how many there are. I didn't check. But there are 10,000 homes on the market, let's say right now, on the Flex MLS. And this, over the last 5 years, you can see where it went up in the beginning of April, May, and June, where it snuck up from 11 to 12, 13,000, 14. And so between now and the 1st of June, we're going to see an increase in the number of homes on the market. Wouldn't you agree? That's your competition. Right now, you don't have all of those other homes to compete with. If you have approximately the same number of buyers now as opposed to when you have a lot of competition, then what's the likelihood you're going to get the highest price for your home now versus after you've painted the bathroom? It seems reasonable, doesn't it, that you'd get the most now if you got the ball rolling. Step 4.5. I threw that in. Pause. Let it sink in. One thing I can't stand about salespeople is they keep talking. Stop. Let it sink in. And then what I do is step 5. I close. What I showed you there, that makes all the difference, doesn't it? I mean, you could spend the next 30 days getting your house ready to sell, only to discover that your competition has increased twofold in your neighborhood, or you could sell it now for more money without doing the work. Which would you prefer? The choice is yours. When you get good at handling objectives in a way that is genuine, people will list with you. Your hit ratio for going out and showing homes or listing homes is going to skyrocket. And then you'll only have to go on 3 or 4 listing appointments in order to get 2 or 3 listings, as opposed to going on 10 listing appointments to get 1. So if you increase your hit ratio by becoming more effective, more proficient at handling objections, then the likelihood is you're going to give yourself a pay raise. And ultimately, if you get really good at it, you'll work less hours. So, questions? One question. Pictures. Leo, thanks, Leo. Appreciate that. What pictures do you use? Well, gosh, I didn't bring my my listing appointment book with me. I should have. I apologize. But I have all sorts of charts and graphs about 5 stars place in the marketplace, that we sell more homes than other real estate companies, that I personally sell more homes than a lot of real estate agents, that here are all the houses that I've sold over the course of years. Here are testimonial letters. I actually have the originals in my listing presentation, and they go back to the point where they're starting to get yellow now. I have all kinds of proof statements that I carry with me. For example, if I were going out and I had an inkling that one of the reasons that the people didn't want to list their house today was because they wanted to wait until spring, and bear in mind, I ask a lot of these questions in the initial conversation over the phone so that I know what I'm going to expect in the listing appointment. But I'm going to go out there armed with that information that I gave you about here's what it was last year and the year before and the year before that in homes that were listed in April and May and June versus the inventory right now in March. So I go out there with as many statistics as I can get my hands on if I know that that's going to be one of their objections. If I think their objection is, well, I don't know about your marketing plan. I have my whole marketing plan laid out within my listing presentation, and I will focus on that. And I don't go to places where they don't have a concern. I never sell with blah blah when I can sell with blah. And so if they don't raise that as an issue, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to focus on what their hesitation is. Does that help, Leo? I hope it does. If not, sorry, I should have brought my my listing presentation because I would have shown you all the graphics and stuff I have in there. I even have my resume in there so that they can look at it and they retain it better when they both see it and hear it. So, any more questions? It's 1:26. If there are no questions, I hope I helped. It's something you got to practice. I encourage you to sit down with a co-agent, a family member, and go through this and practice the process, because if you get really, really good at it, the hit ratio, the percentage of listings that you take will go up dramatically, and you won't have to work nearly as hard to make more money. I call that a pay raise. And we have another question. Anna says, sorry if I missed it, but how do you handle the objection on cutting commission? Okay, Anna, that's a good one. It actually is, it really is wonderful. That's the one that we probably all run into the most. And not everyone can do it. But my answer, when they say, will you cut your commission? My answer is, I do this. It's kind of like a, no. And very often it just goes away because they go, oh yeah, okay, sorry for asking. But, and sometimes I go on to explain it. It depends on the feel that I get. Sometimes I go on to explain, based on the marketing plan that you've seen here, that I'm going to put forth to sell your home, based on my experience and my success rate, I feel as though I'm probably one of the best agents in the business. Is there anyone else that you've interviewed who you would rather list with right now here today? And at this point, because I've shared everything with them and had covered all of their questions, 90% of the time the answer is no. So again, if you practice the listing presentation and get really good at it and have those kind of statistics to share with them, when it comes to the issue of commission, I simply say no. No, I'm really worth this. I'm going to be spending and investing a lot of money in getting your house sold, and this is how I make my living. So, no. Leo. Leo says, do I ever propose a 7%, 4% to the listing agent, 3% to the buyer's agent, and then concede to 6%, 3 and 3? Just had to share all my secrets, didn't you, Leo? The answer is yes, I have done that. And the way I usually get 7%, though, is that I do show them a pretty comprehensive marketing program, and one that is far better than what most other agents are providing. I'll show them the videos that I do and the costs that go into making those videos. And I'll ask them the question, is there anyone else who's shown you a better produced, more widely distributed video than what I've shown you today? And then they tend not to argue with my commission at all. So, but will I concede it at 6%, 3 and 3? Absolutely. Ultimately, it's a business decision, and I'm not going to lose a listing over 1%. So, thanks for coming. See you next Monday.